Numerous hours of interviews with historians and academic economists went into creating this list of the wealthiest persons in history. Read this to learn more about how the order was established despite the challenges associated with comparing wealth across many different historical eras and economic systems. Number 5. Stalin Joseph. Lived from 1878 until 1953. Nation: USSR. Rich, total authority over a country with 9.6% of the world's GDP. Stalin is a unique character in the annals of contemporary economic history, a totalitarian tyrant in charge of one of the biggest economies on the planet. Even though it is merely hard to distinguish Stalin's fortune from that of the Soviet Union, several economists have named him as one of the richest persons of all time, due to his exceptional combination of economic power and total control over the USSR. That amount of production in 2014 would have been the equivalent of around $7.5 trillion. Number 4. Akbar. Lived from 1542 to 1605. Nation: India. Rich, controlled empire with 25% of world GDP. The most powerful ruler of the Mughal dynasty in India, Akbar ruled over an empire that produced almost 25% of the world's total goods and services. According to Angus Maddison, the late economic historian, India's GDP per capita under Akbar was similar to that of Elizabethan England, but with a ruling class whose extravagant lifestyle surpassed that of the European society, as quoted by Fortune's Chris Matthews. Number 3. Shenzong the Emperor. Lived from 1048 until 1085. Nation: China. Rich, controlled empire with 25 to 30% of world GDP. The Song dynasty in China, which lasted from 960 to 1279, was one of the most prosperous regimes in history. Professor Ronald A. Edwards, a Chinese economic historian of the Song dynasty at Tamkang University, estimates that at its height, the country contributed between 25% and 30% of the global economy. The empire's extraordinary proficiency in tax collection, which Edwards claims put it hundreds of years ahead of European governments, as well as its technological advancements, were the main sources of its wealth. The lecturer also pointed out that the government of the Song dynasty was extremely centralized, giving the ruler complete authority over the economy. Number 2. Caesar Augustus. Lived from 63 BC until 14 AD. Nation: Rome. $4.6 trillion in wealth. In addition to overseeing an empire that generated between 25% and 30% of global economic activity, Augustus Caesar possessed a personal fortune equal to 1/5 of his empire's GDP at one point, according to Ian Morris, a history professor at Stanford University. In 2014, such a fortune would be worth roughly $4.6 trillion. Morris continues, Augustus personally owned all of Egypt for a while. It's challenging to surpass that. Number 1. Mansa. Period: 1280 to 1337. Nation: Mali. Wealth abundant beyond description. The ruler of Timbuktu, Mansa Musa, is frequently cited as the richest person in history. Richard Smith, a history professor at Ferrum College, believes that during a period when gold was particularly in demand, Musa's West African kingdom was perhaps the world's largest producer of the precious metal. How wealthy was Musa? It is truly impossible to accurately quantify his riches. Documents are few if they exist at all, and modern accounts characterize the king's wealth in ways that were not conceivable at the time. If you watched this far, please share your thoughts in the comments box below for more fascinating subjects. Thank you for watching. Please make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos.